Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood shark. Now, I was going to upload a couple of stream segments about this, but I decided that this is probably the best way to lay out all of my thoughts so you guys know exactly how I feel about this. And I can walk you through what I was thinking, because it was going to take about 3 hours worth of video to get through all of that. And I think we could boil that down a bit. So if you didn't know, there's a big problem going on in the Twitch politics sphere at the moment. There's always problems, but this is a little bit more of a problem. Sexual harassment allegations towards primecayes, a political debate panel runner, and Katarana, someone who's also in the Twitch politics sphere. Katarana made allegations towards Prime that over the course of them talking, he had sexually harassed her and made unwanted sexual comments about her body, and was always like fiending for a relationship or something more than what they had. And Dylan Burns got involved into this as well. Katarana and Dylan were living together, and I believe they still are. And so he went live the other day. He dropped the twit longer. He went live the other day with a stream titled primecayes sexually harassed his staff. Pretty inflammatory, just straight up boom statement right there, where they went over all of the allegations, where they went over everything that happened, and they also debated Destiny on it, which I didn't think really needed to happen, but we'll talk about that in a moment. All of the screenshots that we saw were basically Prime making romantic and flirting comments towards Katarina, which I would imagine would probably feel a little bit uncomfortable, since at the time when some of these comments were being made, Katarina was actually working for Prime. She did. And during all of those screenshots, the ones that Dylan showed, the one that Katarina posted, and the ones that even Prime himself posted, and not a single one of those was Katarina reciprocal to any of his romantic advances at all. He like completely misread the situation. I'm talking like three blind mice walking around an aircraft hangar trying to find a grain of rice, sort of like absolutely missing the mark entirely. And because of that, I think it's fair to say that he sexually harassed Katarina. I think so, especially since they were in sort of like a working relationship, and she wanted to build her career, and she didn't at all reciprocate any of the advances that he made in the slightest. Even one time, I think he made like a romantic comment towards her, and she literally just said "die," which, you know, if that doesn't let you know how she's feeling, I'm not sure what else will. You know, I'm not sure necessarily what else might. Now, that's not saying that I think that Prime is a bad person. I don't think he did this maliciously. I don't think he was trying to hurt Katarina. I don't think he was rubbing his hands together like, yes, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow so I can harass Katarina more. I don't think that happened. And I don't think that he should be like completely just thrown off the face of the earth because of this. I really don't think so. For as bad as some things that we've seen, from what we've seen. Now, Katarina made some more accusations about him from some things that he said, but those ones can't be proven. And as far as I know, Prime hadn't responded to those at all, which is a little bit curious for me. When it comes to these sorts of allegations, I think it's really important to trust but verify. I don't want to use this as a sort of like content opportunity. I do want to use it as a learning opportunity for all of us, because there were mistakes all around. I think the most obvious ones would be Prime and pursuing Katarina for as long as he did, for as hard as he did, even when she didn't express any interest in him in the same way. I think he should have like stopped and really thought and been like, hey, maybe I just need to really, if anything, just ask her again. Like, I feel like a lot of us, we just don't talk to each other, and I have literally no clue why, but I don't know why it's so hard for people to stop and be like, hey, like, do you feel the same? And I get a real definite answer. I mean, a lot of the time, some people may be wishy-washy. Sometimes people will be hot and cold and not necessarily know what they want. That's fine. But if you're going to be in this sort of situation where you're really into someone and they're not giving you the same thing back, you need to stop and like take care of yourself. At the end of the day, that's just like self-care, to be like, hey, do you feel the same? And if they say no, you can move on. If they say yes, then you can keep pursuing. But if they say no, respect that no, or else you could end up in a situation like this. If you keep trying to like tiptoe and dance around all of these sorts of things and keep pursuing and just waiting for the response that you want, things aren't going to end up well for you, and you could very much be harassing that person when that isn't your intention at all. I don't think that a problem, I don't think that you need to be actively trying to hurt someone. You could do it on accident. And I think these are one of these situations, and I think that Prime needs to take a moment and think about like what he did, how he hurt this person, and how to do better in the future. That's what I think. Now, when it comes to Catarana and Dylan, because there's been a lot of talk there in this situation. From what I've seen so far, do I think this should have been made like super public? I'm not sure if I agree with that. One really big thing that was running through my head while we were watching everything go down live is, did this need to be public? I feel like a lot of the times people think that we need to be running towards making like a really big scene about something like this, when a lot of the times, if you're in like Dylan's position where you want to protect someone who's like at the very least your friend, they are living together, we would like to run to just like, hey, look, just run to the presses, look what's happening, boom, 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 take them out in the court of public opinion. Because while we're here, basically that's all we have. Like as streamers, that's all we have, right? There's no like OSHA that you could go to. There's no like human resources that you can go to when you're like working with or for somebody in the like content creator sphere. You don't do that. There's no court that you go to. The court that you go to is the court of public opinion. And if you don't win there, you're kind of fucking screwed. And for a lot of people who are below like popular figures, they can easily run with the narrative and just completely take over the court of public opinion. They just have more power than you. There's not much that you can do about that. And that's unfortunate, but that's just like kind of how it is. I really feel like a dry, stern talk with Prime in DMs could have solved a lot of these problems and wouldn't lead to such the blowback that both Dylan and Catarana are now getting and are probably going to be living with for a fair amount of time. Because not only did Destiny get involved in like and a lot of other content creators, me myself included, get involved because it's hard for me not to be involved. Dylan and Prime are the biggest showrunners that we have. I'm probably going to be interacting with one of the two of them in some point in time, and I've definitely interacted with both of them in the past. I can't really get away from this now. And everybody associated with these people can't get away from it either when it's brought up like this. But that didn't happen. Off the top of my head, I can only think of a couple of reasons for why that didn't happen. So one really big reason is I can imagine that like Dylan trying to stand up for someone who is very least a friend, as far as we know, through the Destiny conversation, found out that they're actually dating, him and Catarana, trying to protect someone that you like deeply care about. If you hear something like this, if they bring something like this to you, you do get like a side of the story, and the story seems very bad, and the story I still think is very bad. But when you get that side of the story, you're just like, okay, let's end them, just let's get their ass. I've been like that before. A lot of my friends think that I come off as a very protective person. I'm very protective over the people that I care about. I can absolutely understand that. I can understand being in that position where you think that someone is like demonstrably hurting someone that you care about, and you're obviously like, all right, let's get their ass. They're donezo. Okay, they're donezo. And you've gotten all of this information in front of you, and it does look bad. And you get a story, and it's very bad. And so you're just like, we have to go to the presses with this. This person is dangerous, and that's like one of the second reasons why I think this probably didn't go private and stay private, is that they thought that Prime was dangerous, that he could have been doing this to not only Catarana, but also other people as well, and allowing them to be hurt. And if there are any other people who have had this experience and are hurt due to Prime, those people now have the option to come forward, because now all of it's out here. This is typically the time where if there are other people who have been hurt, that they typically join in and have their stories be known. As far as I know, something like that hasn't happened yet. It's only specifically Catarana. But also one really big problem that I think is being a little bit overlooked is Samantha Banana. Now, I've interacted with Samantha Banana a couple of times in my days. They're pretty big in the Twitch politics space. They do a lot of moving around. Samantha Banana, in one of the messages, and one of the sort of subplots to this, was sort of going to be an intermediary between Catarana and Prime. So Catarana took like some of the messages, she blurred out like all of the names and everything except for hers, and said that, hey, listen, I'm getting harassed by this person in DMs. Right? And Samantha Banana was like, heck, that sucks. And then through more talking, Katarana revealed that it was Prime, and then asked if Samantha Banana could do something about that. So Samantha Banana was like, okay. And the story went that Samantha Banana went to Prime, told Prime that Katarana felt like she was harassing him, and Prime was like, oh, okay, and then kept harassing Katarana. Now, from the screenshots that we've gotten, what seems to be the case is that Samantha Banana sent the censored screenshots to Prime and said that, hey, someone's harassing Katarana. And then Prime was like, oh, okay, we'll try and take care of that, I guess. And that was it. And to Katarina and Dylan, both of them were like, man, we told Prime. Samantha Banana said that they talked to Prime. So if this is the case and he's still going on, then obviously he just doesn't care. He wants to keep on doing this. He knows that she's uncomfortable and they keep on doing this, and obviously he just doesn't care. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So that disconnect between those two made Prime think that nothing was wrong, and made Dylan and Katarina think that he's like a monster, basically, who just does not care. I think that blew a pretty big hole in the story, because as far as I've seen, I don't think Prime was very malicious with his actions. Does that make them good? No. And Katarina never had like a heart-to-heart like talk with Prime to say that she was specifically uncomfortable with the situation that he had put her in. Now, does that make her a bad person? Does that make her like someone who's like trying to like get something over on Prime or something? No, absolutely not. You're put in a hard situation. You don't have to do something. I'm just saying it would have been nice. It would have been good to like go specifically to Prime and be like, this is not good. Or have Dylan take the Discord and then talk to Prime there and be like, hey, what's going on here? Just them, person to person. They never spoke. Dylan never spoke directly to Prime. Katarina never spoke directly to Prime. Both of them never spoke directly to Prime. None of this happened. And this can teach us something. It's important to have communication no matter who that person is. It's vitally important, because you two can be, situations could happen that you hadn't even thought about between these two people that could completely change your idea of what's happening. That on top of now Dylan and Katarina are experiencing a whole bunch of problems because Destiny got involved, and Destiny was basically in like the Prime camp saying that not only that this doesn't amount to sexual harassment, but also Katarina is actually the one in the wrong for trying to manipulate Prime by trying to get clout from him, while not saying that she was specifically uncomfortable with the harassment, even though she never reciprocated anything that he did, which I think is ridiculous. But that's a talk for another day. I don't think we have to go into all of that right now. And Prime, I think, really should just take a step back. He should take like a week off or something. I don't think this should like completely destroy his career. The whole war room thing that he made after all of the allegations dropped, I think is really disheartening. That was the first thing that his mind went to, would be like, we have to go to war and fight, instead of like coming to grips with what could have happened. Now, he did, as far as I know, own up to that and say that was wrong. That's good. Taking some time off to like reflect on what you did, I think would also be really good, because at the end of the day, whether you meant to or not, you hurt someone, and you need to think about that, because there are actions that led to that person being hurt. And I don't think it's unreasonable for Katarina to feel like she's been hurt. I don't think so at all. Prime makes a decent amount of cash streaming. He could probably like afford like a couple of sessions from a therapist, go talk to someone. It may be nice, it may be good for you, get your head out of everything, and then come back, and then we can move on, right? We can move on from this. But it's important to make sure that you open up lines of communication. All of this at the end of the day comes down to a complete miscommunication error from Prime misreading everything that Katarina gave him. to especially since like some DMs released by Prime showed that Katarina had said that she was not looking for a relationship or to be romantic with anyone, or didn't want a long distance relationship, which is what it would be between those two if something were to happen, all the way back in March. We're nearing the end of August, so that's a really long time. He completely disregarded that, and that could lead to a lot of other problems for yourself and for the people that you're talking to. If that's like a pattern of behavior that Prime has, that needs to be worked out. And a line of communication was completely cut between Katarina and the accused, Prime here, and Dylan and the accused as well. And this happens time and time and time again, where people decide not to talk, but instead to go straight to public. And now there are lots of more problems. Now, I'm not going to say there are lots of people going around saying things like there's conflicts of interest here, that Dylan really wants to stick up for Katarina because they're dating. I mean, sure, like I feel that way about friends. I feel that way about partners. I want to like protect them and defend them. I don't believe in the conspiratorial shit where it's like Dylan tried to take out Prime because they both have shows. They both stream at different times. They both have different types of streams. There's no reason. I don't think there's any real reason for Dylan to feel like he needs to take out Prime. Dylan's bigger than Prime anyways. I really don't think there's any real reason to do that. And anybody who's running with that conspiracy just because like there's an idea of a conflict of interest does not mean anything happened. Remember that. If some dipshit's telling you something like that, just block them. All right, just do it. That person is probably brain dead anyways. You're going to get no conversation out of them. Leave them be and leave them to rot, just like they should be. I'm sorry. That's how it is. So where do we sit right now? The worst things that Katarina said cannot be verified. I would like to hear what Prime had to say for himself in regards to that specifically. And I think that I think everyone should just kind of take a break. I think everyone should just take a step back. Like Prime, Dylan, and Katarina, I honestly believe they should all just take a step back for a moment and pull back from all of this, trying to pretend like nothing really happened, or you can kind of just continue on like with the status quo after something this big dropped. Because not only is it a problem with you and you facing harassment, with Prime facing harassment and everything, I just honestly think it's better for everyone, their mental health, their careers, everything, for everyone to just kind of take a step back for a little while. There's no reason to try to be pushing for things that you shouldn't be. So basically that's where we stand right now. I wanted to stay away from the core of these problems as much as possible because I don't want to be that involved. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't want to be that involved. The channel's been doing great. I love all of you guys. I'd rather not be sucked into this absolute death wormhole. But every mistake is a learning opportunity. So for Dylan, for Kat, for Prime, for Samantha Banana, and everyone else involved, I would like for this to be, hopefully Destiny as well, I would like for this to be a learning opportunity for what we can do better in the future, and how do we deal with these situations, and how do we talk to each other more, treat each other like people. Outside of our screen names, outside of our like actions and our shows and our YouTube channels and our Twitch channels and our Twitters and everything, we're just people, right? We could talk to each other. Please, I beg you. So that's where we are right now. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you all in the next video. See you later, frogs. Have a good one.